Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's live stream all about the recession. And I found an article which came out in the Metro a couple of weeks ago, which I feel that first-time buyers are going to want to know. It's from the Zoopla chief executive that goes on what's happened in previous recessions, what other people think is going to happen, and what he thinks should happen with first-time buyers and what you should or shouldn't do. So I just thought I would touch base on this article. We'll go over it. You can discuss it with me, and then we can have a question and answer session at the end if you wish to do so. But if you don't know me, I'm Lee Everett. I've been an estate agent for 20 years. And on this channel, we love helping as many first-time buyers buy their first home. So if that's something you're into, please hit that subscribe button. So let's get into the content, which is going to be from the Metro. But first, we're going to say a couple of hellos. Hello, Ilana. How you doing? Paul RS, welcome. The one I've been waiting for. Let's see what people say. Yes. And Cheryl, welcome back. Hope everyone is doing okay. I've got a new setup going on, so hopefully you can see me clearly and hear me okay. So let me know if you can't. Hello, Taki. Nice to see you again. So as I said, we're going to go over this report in the Metro, and then we can discuss it. You can let me know what your thoughts are about what a recession means for you, a buyer, if that changes anything, if anything like that sort of makes you think differently about buying or selling. Hello, MA and Mia Play. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello again. Right, so we've got a few of you here. Let's get into the stream. But first, hit that like button if you haven't already, guys. That'd be really, really, really appreciative. Hello there. I'm going to try and say the name. Suhail. I hope I've said that right. Planet Pokewood, welcome. Usual crew for Wednesday night. Yes, yes, yes. Loving the regular. So welcome back, guys. Welcome back. So let's get into the report. The article. It's not very long. I won't bore you too long. Then we can have a little chat, discussion about what you think is going to happen, and then we can get into the Q&A about buying, selling, all those bits and pieces. So let me just share this screen. Hello, Albie. How you doing, my friend? Right, let's get into here. Look at all this, eh? Whoa. Right, so this article is from the Metro. As I said, I don't normally read the Metro, but when I was sort of doing some research over the last couple of days, I thought that this information or this opinion might be beneficial to some people. It's not talking up the market, it's not talking down the market. It's just basically a level-headed. Well, I think a level-headed opinion in what could happen. And the headline, what happens to house prices in a recession? A property expert explains. It's not me. It's not me. It's the CEO of Zoopla. So, yeah, I mean, I've lived through a couple of recessions. We had one in 2020 when obviously everything was closed down and property prices went one way. Also had the recession after the financial crisis where the property market did tank. So let's see what this expert, the CEO of Zoopla, thinks is going to happen. And I can't see if you've written a comment at the moment, guys. So I'm going to read through this and I'll try and catch up with your comments. So what happens to house prices in a recession? A property expert explains. The Bank of England believes the country will enter a recession by Christmas, which will last for 15 months. I think it's amazing how they can predict that when sometimes we can't even predict the weather. Money experts and financial figures have predicted that Britain will suffer its longest downturn since the 2008 financial crisis in the coming months. All very, very worrying. The bank's Monetary Policy Committee have warned real household post-tax income is projected to fall sharply in 2022 and 2023, while consumption growth turns negative. So that's the GDP of the country. They reckon is going to be negative. While a recession affects people in different ways, homeowners and those hoping to get on the property ladder will particularly want to look at what a recession does to the housing market. Okay, so me personally, when the recession hit in 2008, I still had my job. I didn't have many debts then. I didn't have a mortgage then. And I kept my job. And I didn't notice the recession as much as some other people who are losing their jobs left, right, and centre. So that is why the recession can hit people differently. Metro.co.uk spoke exclusively with the executive director of Zoopla, Richard Donald, to explore what it could mean for them. So let's go over what he has to say. We asked Richard about whether properties will decrease in value for those looking to sell, or if those looking to buy will be able to snag a property for a lower price, which I think that's what people want. People want the housing market to crash somewhat or to have a dip so you can jump on the bandwagon and get yourself a bargain. He said it all depends on how severe the recession is. Historically, house prices tend to fall when there's a deep and prolonged contraction in the economy, which is what the Bank of England and experts are forecasting 15 months of negative growth. So that would be a long, protracted in the economy with rising unemployment. Now, that's the thing which I think is different to what happened in 2007, 2008 is we've got record amount of people in jobs at the moment. So we've got one half of what happened last time in terms of there's going to be a long lack of economic growth in the country. But at the moment, we don't have that mass unemployment, which is what we had 15 years ago, quite a long time ago. What happened to the housing market? Oh, there we go. I've missed a bit. It's been a long day. He continued, the outlook is uncertain, but the Bank of England forecasts do not suggest a repeat of the previous turndown. So Bank of England don't think it's going to be as bad as what happened in 2008. The housing market is not immune from the impact of higher mortgage rates and the cost of living squeeze, and we expect the rate of growth to slow over the second half of the year to 5% and then lower still in 2023. So Zoopla, and you could argue they may have a vested interest in what they say because they are a property portal, but they also do other things as well, which is related to the property market, but wouldn't necessarily be beneficial for them to talk up the market. So they still think next year prices are still going to be a bit higher than what they are this year. Not by much, but 5% this year. And it may even be 1% or nothing, no growth at all. But they still think this year we're going to finish 5% up on last year. So what happened in the housing market during the last recession? When we look for patterns or lessons from the last serious recession, Richard explains the 2007 global financial crisis saw the availability of mortgage finance contract, making it much harder for people to borrow, reducing demand for homes. So lenders just stopped lending. So they went from lending 100 to 120% mortgages to literally cutting it down to bare minimum who they would lend money to. We don't seem to have that at the moment with mortgage companies. They are still wanting to lend money, and the government will do what they can to help that as well. This, together with rising unemployment, resulted in the average house price falling by 12%. So last time, the average house price in the country fell by 12%, which I think a lot of people have been, or in my comment section anyway, predicting that maybe we're going to see a drop of 20% or 25%, which I don't think. I think if you're waiting for that, I personally don't think that will happen. People will disagree with me. People will agree with me, but that is my opinion. But you've got to make your own mind up. This led to fewer homeowners moving, and the recovery in market activity started in London from 2010 and the wider market from 2013. So it's saying it took a long time to recover. So if you're a first-time buyer, what does a recession mean for you? We asked Richard whether a recession is a good time for first-time buyers. Does it make it easier to get on the ladder? He said, at the time of increased uncertainty like now, some first-time buyers are waiting as they think homes may become cheaper. But the reality is that there has only been 31 months with house price falls in the last 20 years. So over 20%, over 10%, sorry, of months have actually had negative house or an actual dip. So put that into context. Generally, house prices go up. Those months were all between 2008 and 2012. So the advice would be not to wait and hope for homes to become cheaper because there is no guarantee. Okay. What else are you going to say? Prices are set to keep rising slowly in most places. If you think your household income will be steady or rise over the next 2 to 3 years, there's limited point in delaying. Just spend plenty of time doing your research, which we advocate here. Find a home that meets your needs, which is what we say here, your needs, not your wants, and for which you feel you're paying a fair price. Get advice about mortgage finance to help with this. So that is what they are saying. So what do we think, guys? What do we think? Let's get rid of you. Ooh, there we go. So what do you think of that? Let me know. We'll try and catch up on some comments that I've missed. Good evening, Alex. How you doing? Planet Pokewood. I was made redundant in 2008. Tough times. I was solely responsible for the mortgage and bills. I can imagine that would have been a scary time, a very scary time. I don't know what I would have done. I was only renting in 2008. If I lost my job, that would have been very, very, very scary. But how do you feel this time, Pokey? Would you feel you're more settled in your job, more secure in your job? Are you worried about possibly you losing your job or anything like that? I think because that's what's different this time round, in my opinion. Recession normally lasts for longer than 15 months. I work in a multinational company and the company is freezing higher at this point. This recession will be different from 2008 because of millennials. It will be different. It will be different. The marketplace is completely different to what it was. The mortgage and bank setup are completely different. Are exposed to stock indexes, so recession will be likely during a lack of liquidity. Well, yes. I mean, you're talking about cryptos and stuff, which I don't know enough about, to be honest with you. Hi, Cheryl. How you doing? I'm very well, thank you. I am very, very well. But we want to talk about how it's going to affect you guys. Is what's happening potentially in the economy, is that going to stop you from potentially buying a property? That's what I want to know. And then once I know what my community think, we can then sort of put it out to other people and see what they're going to do, because there's a lot of channels that are producing content that say the housing market is going to crash, and no one actually knows. But if you throw enough mud, then sometimes it will stick. So if you shout it enough, then people can say, yes, I was right. What I said 2 years ago, it's finally happened. But think the market may have a correction. But as I've said on this channel for a year or two now, or a year and a half, if the house you want is available and you can afford it, and it's going to be your home for the next 3, 5, 6, 7 years, then what happens in the meantime to house prices, especially if you lock in for a decent length mortgage, if you can definitely know you're going to stay there, it doesn't really matter. It's only when you come to remortgage or sell and buy something bigger or smaller or change that it really has an impact on you. Hi, Mel. With all the turmoil that's going on in the stock market, real estate is the safest investment. See, this is about, if I've got money, I'll be putting it into property, even now, because if I'm buying a place to rent, which I know we're not about on this channel, rents are going up and house prices will go up. So I see much more or much less risk going into property than I would in cryptos, which is very, very, very up and down, I hear. Hi, Sylvia. How you doing? You all right? Hope you're doing well. So let's keep talking about this. Let's keep talking about this. And remember, if you haven't liked, please like the stream. At 35 people, 13 likes. I changed my thumbnail for this this live stream, so I don't know if people like that. I didn't have a chance to shoot a photograph while I was at work today, so I just had to rush something earlier during when I was having a sandwich. So I'm hoping that's why not many people are here, not because the content isn't good enough. So I think personally, if you value my opinion, which I'd like to think, if you are here listening to me, you may at least be interested in what I've got to say, is if you buy the house you need, not the house you want, and you're going to be there for a long time, then that would be my takeaway in buying. If you can get the mortgage right now, then I personally would be looking to buy if you're looking for a home. All right. And that's, I'll be saying that until I'm blue in the face. Even if property prices crash, which I don't think they will do, I think if you are to buy a home and you can afford to do it, then I would be doing it. I would be doing it. Hi, Albie. Finally got the documents I was waiting for, Lee. However, the interest rates are ridiculous. Would you still recommend to go ahead? Mortgage broker is advising a 5-year fix. I mean, I'm not allowed to advise, but what I done when I got my mortgage last year was fixed for 5 years, because I knew that no matter what happened with interest rates, that I knew what I'd be paying, and I'd be chipping away at my mortgage each month as well. Again, it's a pure guess, but what people are predicting that when interest rates get to their peak, which we don't know when it will be, they're expecting the second half of next year that those interest rates will start to come down again. But it all depends how high they go. At the moment, if they're at 1.7% or whatever they are, at the moment 1.5%, 1.7%, they're only going to go up in the near future, and they're expected to come down again at some point next year if everything goes the way it's planned. But how high they go and how long it takes for them to come down is pure guesswork, much like everything regarding the property market. So if you can afford the 5-year fixed, and you know you're going to be in that house for 5 years, then me personally, I would look to do it. As interest rates are probably only going to go up again in the next couple of weeks when the Bank of England meet up again. So that 5-year fix you've got now will probably be more expensive in a couple of weeks' time, mate. So yeah, but if your broker's advising that, then I wouldn't be going against what the broker, who's a professional, would be able to tell you. But Pakewood does have a much more secure job this time round. 2008 caused me to go a lot into debt, pay them all. Yeah, yeah. I mean, my wages went down a little bit in 2007, 2008. I incurred some debt, some credit card debt, which took a while to pay off, as it does, the never, never cards. But 15 years later, I think the people that can afford to buy a property now tend to be in those more secure jobs. Whereas in 2007, 2008, the people that had mortgages, you were having self-cert mortgages where you didn't have to prove how much money you was on. You could just go to the bank and say, right, I'm earning 50, 60 grand a year. I don't want to prove it, so I'm going to get a self-cert mortgage, and they would throw money at you. Whereas now the people that have mortgages, the banks have done their research on them, their responsible lending, which just wasn't around in that time. Leading up to 2007, 2008, banks were just throwing money left, right, and centre at anyone who wanted it. And that's why we had so many recessions when people started losing their jobs, didn't have savings behind them and stuff like that. Whereas I feel like now, a lot of buyers who maybe be a little bit more mature, maybe we're a little bit older now. First time buyer average age is 35, whereas I'm sure 15 years ago it was a hell of a lot younger. You get a bit more mature, you have some savings behind you, you don't tend to stretch yourself as much. We are planning for the future, whereas maybe myself 15 years ago, I didn't have those savings. I wasn't planning for the future. I was just living month to month and enjoying it while it happened. Difficult to predict if it will go high or low, as we're guessing people coping with inflation. Goldman Sachs predicts inflation to top 22%, high interest rates, and if this will cause people to lose. Well, this is it. If a lot of people are on fixed rate mortgages at the moment, so at the moment, I think 75% of the population are on a fixed rate mortgage, whether that ends in the next year, 2 years, 5 years. So there are 25% of people that are on a standard variable rate, or homeowners, or own their house outright. And no, sorry, I think 50% of the population, I could be wrong, own their house outright with no mortgage. Of the other 50% who have a mortgage, 75% of those have a fixed term, with 25% having a variable standard or being on the standard rate. So there's a large proportion of people that aren't going to be affected by high interest rates because they already paid off their mortgage. The other half, or the other percentage, have a fixed rate, with a small amount actually being on the standard variable rate, which are going to be affected a hell of a lot when interest rates keep going up. But yeah, it is so difficult to predict. So difficult to predict. Hello, Shell. Our searches are back and additional inquiries have been received. Got the report back from the solicitor today. What do I expect now? Am I ready to exchange? So let's read that back. Searches are back. Great. Additional inquiries have been received. Got back from my solicitor today. Right. So your solicitor will make sure that those questions that they answered are satisfactory. If that is the case, and they've reported to you on the searches and the inquiries, there shouldn't be much more for them to do. I'm guessing you've got your mortgage offer, which is good, I'm hoping. You shouldn't be too far off. But don't be scared to speak to your solicitor and say, what else needs to be done? Is the chain ready? Make those calls. That's what you're paying them for. Jane, yes. Yes. Did you move, Jane? That's what we all want to know. What did you happened? What happened? I presumed you wasn't here last week because you moved. People missed you. Cheryl missed you. Hi, Mel. Would you recommend a buy-to-let investment? Hi, Mel. This is mainly for first-time buyers, this channel. So I would be looking at buying a buy-to-let property now, because if the figures work now when rents are high, then yeah, rents are going to go down in my opinion. But that's all I'm going to say on that, Mel. But yeah. Packing for holiday, so won't be on the next two live. Watch last week's episode back. I have now. Congratulations. Well done, Jane. Had an up and down journey, didn't you, to get here? But I'm so pleased you moved. I'm so glad that you've booked a holiday, which I'm sure you deserve, and also going to come back and help the guys, help me, and help the guys in the chat as well. So thank you so much and congratulations. Really, really happy for you. Really happy for you. Nicholas, hi, how you doing? Hi, Lee. First time live here. Thank you. Made an offer end of June for a 2-bed coach house with garden in Slade Green for $293,000. Got accepted. Seller solicitors take their time answering inquiries. That they do. that they do. It can it can be frustrating. So Rightmove are saying that the average house going through at the moment is taking 133 days, and that's a hell of a long time. A hell of a long time. I might have some exciting news about a company that I've dealt with a few times. I've been really, really impressed with, and how quick they got the sales through that I dealt with them with. So there's a little bit going on behind the scenes, which maybe I might be able to bring to you next week or the week after. But yeah, got an exciting potential partnership coming up, which should help these things go a hell of a lot quicker. But yeah. Don't be scared to keep putting the pressure on the estate agent, because they'll be able to speak to the seller's solicitor and get those questions answered hopefully quicker, or at least let the seller know that you are chasing and it's not you holding up the sale, it's their solicitor or third party while they're getting these inquiries. But congratulations on offer accepted, Nicholas. Really pleased for you. Really pleased for you. Jane saying hello to Cheryl. Hello, Miss Detox. Welcome back. Good evening. Good evening. Elena, affordability starts to become an issue. Sellers are hoping to sell at high prices, not factoring in the rising costs. I agree that it's still a good time to buy, but at the right, exactly. This is where you do your research. Now, there's a lot of news the last couple of days saying that house prices are falling, which asking prices are falling, which is what we reported a few weeks ago on Rightmove. Now, what we don't know yet is if those actual sold prices are falling or if it's just the asking prices. Now, I know in my town, a lot of agents are still valuing like it was last year, or a lot of owners still think the market is as busy as last year and are asking top money for their houses. Sometimes they're getting it. It's the whole, let's try that price and wait and see what happens. And if an agent isn't advising that seller properly, that property could sit on the market for a long time at a high price and have a large reduction to get it to where it should have been in the first place. So the recent news, which some channels are saying about house prices dropping in some news outlets, they are asking prices and they're completely different to sold prices. So we need to make sure when we're comparing figures, we're comparing asking prices to asking prices and sold prices to sold prices. I'm going to have a swig of my beer, guys, because I'm getting a sore throat. Not sure how much that helps with a sore throat, but yeah. So yeah, I think that if you can find the right property, which I know, Elena, you've been looking hard. You've done a lot of viewings and a lot of research. Then yeah, you've got to find the right one. You've got to find the right one. Do your research. Don't get carried away with the offering, and that's where I can help you if you do want me to offer on these houses for you. If you've got a price you want to pay for that property, I can help negotiate and try and get it for that price or cheaper if possible. Yeah, some love coming in for Jane. Congratulations. Yes. The reason for high increase in the last 2 years, to my understanding, is low interest lending, which seems to be going away, and stock availability. Prediction inflation will cause people to consider to sell. So I valued quite a few houses recently where owners in bigger houses are looking to downsize into smaller properties. Maybe the kids have left home and want to get into a bungalow rather than a 3 or 4 bedroom house. So there are more people thinking about making that move. But the people that are in that position that I've been valuing tend to be quite comfortable. So having an extra couple of £100 on their utility bills, shopping and stuff like that, I don't think it's going to affect them as much as it's going to affect the people with mortgages who maybe aren't retired. Remember, people who are buying houses tend to be middle earners or to high earners, and can, to a certain degree, absorb some inflation and some interest rate rises. It's when they start going really high. And remember, the current interest rates are still really, really low. Only because of COVID, they went down to historic low levels, that these current interest rates seem expensive, when in reality, when you look back the last 30 years, interest rates are still cheap. But yeah, I think there will be some softening of the market, and people asking top money for their houses should now start to advertise at the right price from day one, rather than being speculative, something like that, and trying 10% more than what they should be. They're coming on hopefully at the right price, or they're having to reduce, which is what these reports are showing. Owners are having to reduce to what they should have first listed their property on the market for, whether that's the agent giving wrong advice, or even the owner thinking my house is worth more than what the agent is saying, which does still happen. Mate, I bought a house last year and I'm absolutely terrified of how much the monthly payments will be when we come to remortgage. The only saving grace is that we have both secure jobs. Not sure if it's worth paying an early redemption charge as it's a lot of money. So, did you, when you bought last year, did you fix for 2 years, 5 years, 3 years? Let us know, MA. Let us know. Um, where are we? I mean, when it comes to remortgaging, I mean, this time last year, we had no idea what was going to happen. We had no idea about Ukraine and all these bits and pieces. We knew that interest rates would eventually start to go up because there was no point that when the economy reopened, having interest rates that low it just didn't make sense. Didn't make sense. So interest rates were always going to go up. Maybe not as high as what they are now, but they were always going to go up. So getting a mortgage was going to be more expensive, which is why I fixed for 5 years. And I know it sounds pretty smug, but normally I don't like paying more money than what I have to. So for me to pay extra money for a 5 year was a real difficult decision for me. I'd rather have had the money in my pocket, but I decided to do it, and thank God we did. But if you are coming up to your remortgaging time, you'll also have the increase in house prices if you bought a year ago. Okay, so house prices have gone up on average about 10% in the last 12 months. So you've got 10% more equity sitting in the property, and you would have paid a smidgen off of the loan that you've took out for the property as well. So you may even get a better loan to value, which may keep your payments similar. But speak to your mortgage broker or lender and see what they have to offer. Yeah, plate. My home buy report is next week. Just wonder if there's any yellows. Is it reasonable for me to? Yeah, I mean yellows, that amber, which means get looked into. There will probably be 2 or 3 reds, which will be the gas, the electric, those sort of services. They'll be reds. The orange or yellow amber, they're ones which you should get a quote for. Okay, so before you exchange contracts, get a tradesman of whatever they point out to get a quote. And once you've got that quote, you can then look to try and renegotiate. And sometimes you can be good with that. It can work. Sometimes the owner can't. So just because there is work that needs to be done, which the surveyor may have found that you haven't, doesn't necessarily mean the seller will have to come down in price. They may decide to say no because they need a certain amount of money and try and find another buyer. But it can happen. In fact, I think I've renegotiated 2 people's properties one after a home buyer's report and one after the mortgage survey, which downvalued it. So it is definitely possible. Definitely possible. If I buy now, then I'll be paying more than a third higher than my rent. Usually mortgage should be less than rent. Usually, but rents are also creeping up again. A third higher is a massive, massive amount. I can only imagine that. Are you buying something bigger? Because a third, 30% more than what your rent is quite staggering, Taki. Quite staggering. Nicholas, we have 2 months' notice at current place we rent, and we did give notice even without having a draft contract, but we didn't want to pay both rent and mortgage. I hope we can complete in the next 2 months. Keep that pressure on your solicitor. Make sure you let them know that, because most solicitors won't advise you to hand your notice in until you've exchanged contracts, or at least you're approaching that. So do you have somewhere to go, or will your landlord let you stay there a bit longer, Nicholas, if your sale is quite ready? But definitely let the agent and your solicitor know the timescales you're now working with, so they can hopefully try and prioritize you and get you over the line quicker than somebody else, which I really hope is able to do. So we're at 22 likes, guys. We can do better than that. Come on, 44 people. We've got a few people that can like if you are signed in as well. Jane saying thank you. What else we got here? So I'm getting used to a new a new system. I agree with Taki. Mortgage should be the same or less than rental. If there's a gap between the two, then the property is overvalued. I wouldn't necessarily say that. You could be getting cheap rent at the moment. If you're getting an under market value rent, which I know a lot of tenants have at the moment. When I'm valuing properties with sitting tenants, they're telling me how much they're paying. Some landlords haven't put rents up for 5-6 years because their tenants have been good and don't want to rock the boat. So when they come to buy or to rent somewhere else, there is a huge shock in what they're paying now and what they have to pay when they do move into either buying a property or another rented property. So it all depends on what that initial rent is, if it's market value or not. Congrats, Jane. Great news is I couldn't agree more, Zara. I couldn't agree more. And some congratulations from Miss Detox. Anywhere nice, Jane? Where you going? Anywhere nice? Let us know. So more congratulations. You're more popular than me. Thank you all. An 8-month sale and buy journey. It can and will happen for you. That's what we like here. We like some positivity. And Jane's had some ups and downs. Hi, Lisa Marie. How you doing? Hi, all. Sorry I've missed a few. Been battling with devaluation, but finally sorted. Just waiting for the solicitor. Then we should get a moving date soon. Fantastic. So this is a prime example. How if a property has been advertised too much, and the surveyor goes round and disagrees with the price you're paying for it or can't find enough evidence that it can get downvalued, and sometimes you can renegotiate. I'm really pleased for Lisa that she's been able to do that, and hopefully you can join Jane in joining us in a few weeks' time in your new home, Lisa. So please stick around after you've completed, because we definitely want to hear from you. Lee, can you share more insights about agents are doing the valuations? So depending on the estate agent, depending on how they're targeted, some agents will overvalue to hit their own personal targets given by their manager or area manager. So they get paid for getting houses on the market, not necessarily for selling. My company, we don't do that. So we have no incentive to overprice, because we only get paid a set of the fee once the house completes. So there's no point me taking the house if it's going to sit on the market 6 months. But some agents, their pay structure is that the agent gets paid, the valuer gets paid for every house they take on the market, regardless if it sells or not. And those are the type of agents that will say anything to win the business, win the instruction, give an inflated price to get that house on the market. They've done their job. Then it's up to the poor negotiators and the owner to try and sell the property. So some valuers are doing that. Not all are doing it. I mean, I work differently, I suppose, to a lot of other agents, but I probably lose a lot of business because I'm too honest. If I think an owner's overpriced a property, I will tell them. Sometimes I don't win the business, and sometimes they appreciate my honesty and still want to try a higher price. But knowing the grand scheme of things, if it doesn't sell in 3 or 4 weeks, we've got a plan to bring the price down more in line with what the market should be paying for it. So depending on the type of company, most of your independent, smaller agents will value, hopefully properly, but not all. And it tends to be the more corporate agents that will go and overvalue because their valuers are targeted more so than sort of agents like me. I was thinking to buy a house, currently live in a flat, but with rising energy costs, I'm thinking to wait till energy prices settle. I mean, yeah, if you feel that the energy price is going to stop you from potentially getting a mortgage or wanting to pay for a mortgage, then you've got to do what's right for you. And I can't say it enough. You've got to sort of cut through all the crap that people like, even me, are saying, and other people who are saying the opposite or what have you, and do what's right for you. Don't listen to people that are saying buy now, buy now, buy now, sell now. So, do you know what I mean? You've got to do what's right for you. This channel is all about offering my opinion and answering your questions. But what you decide to do is entirely up to you, because you're the one that's got to pay the mortgage, pay the rent, not me or any other expert or economist or anyone like that. So you do what's right for you, and that's all you can do. And if you mess up, it's on you. If it goes well, it's all on you as well. All right. But I like being optimistic when there's reason to be. And at the moment, my view may change in 2-3 months' time. And if it does, I'll let you know. But at the moment, if you can see the house you want to buy, need to buy, and you can afford it, and the banks will do their responsible lending checks on you as well. They will do their stress tests and how much energy prices are, and they will tell you if they think you can afford a mortgage or not. Hi there, Suzu. How you doing? You're all right? Glad you made it. Harley, I've done all the steps for the house I'm buying. Now just waiting on solicitors. House is vacant, and the agent has suggested we could rent it while waiting for the solicitor. Is this a good idea? We've had this suggested a couple of times from some buyers, but solicitors have been against it. The reason why, I believe, is if you do decide to rent the property to protect the seller, you'd sign a 6-month tenancy agreement. But if you also change your mind on buying that property, the owner is stuck with you in that property for the remainder of that tenancy agreement. So I personally, if I was a seller, would probably say no to having my buyer buy the property just in case there's a change in circumstances and you decide not to buy it and you decide to stay in that property for the entirety of your contract, or maybe not even move out. Yeah, so I personally wouldn't, Amar. The owner could also decide to hold on to the property and pull out from the sale and move back in themselves. So yeah, definitely, me personally, I probably wouldn't. If you absolutely have to, then you've got to do what's right for you. But me personally, I wouldn't. Thanks, Lee. We fixed for 2 years and have been overpaying since the start. So we're hoping this. Yeah. So you're obviously going to be building up that equity, paying off more of what you've borrowed along with that interest. So the money you've been paying extra will hopefully mean you've got more equity in your house, and any increase in the price of your interest rate might be softened by any extra equity you've now got in the property. Hello, Umit. How you doing? I don't think I recognise you. Don't think I recognise. So thank you for joining us. Please give the stream a thumbs up if you haven't already. Hey, Mark, have they given a timescale to exchange? Here we go, Jane. Here we go. Mexico, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. My director's been there and was, well, absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. TK, apart from the cladding, are there any other factors which developers can skimp out on which would affect remortgaging? Just found out the developers we signed have a scandal at a different location. I don't know too much on the whole remortgaging front, what lenders look at. I'd imagine if you've got a mortgage with Santander, for example, then the easiest route to go down on a remortgage would be with them. But necessarily, they might not necessarily be the cheapest option for you, TK. So I would speak to a mortgage broker on that front, and yeah, definitely see what they have to say as to what issues they're encountering with potential cladding issues and developer and freeholder issues. So yeah, definitely speak to your broker on that one. Hi, Becca Blonde. How are you? Thank you for your videos. We got the keys last Friday. Fantastic. After 6.5 months process, now we have the fun part of unpacking. Fantastic. Give some love for Becca. Fantastic. Well done, guys. Well done. Really pleased for you. And I hope once you've unpacked properly, you can join us and offer your pearls of wisdom to other first-time buyers and let them know, like what Jane has, that it's worth the wait. 6.5 months, you're above average there. So how do you feel to be above average? That's really good. That's really good. Congratulations, Becca. I really hope you're in your new home as well. Hi, Jane. There's still an issue with the garden that needs resolving. Some land is on the previous seller's name, the one who sold it to the person I'm buying off. Solicitors resolving at the moment. Yeah, I mean, that transfer can take some time with land registry. Yeah, so you've got a few things which need sorting out there. But personally, I really wouldn't be renting if that was me. Hi there, Kate. Hello, welcome. Nice to see you. Mel, do you think the agent / seller would reduce the price of a property if I pay in cash? All depends on the owner. And their situation. If the agent doesn't have no say in what the owner decides to do, all the agent will advise on your offer, your position, and put that to the seller, and the seller will make their own decision. If the agent's a good agent, they will let them know whether your offer is a good offer. And try and sort of, if they feel like that's the best offer they're going to get at the moment, will try and advise the seller that they think they should take it. But cash can sometimes save you some money, but it all depends on the owner's motivation, whether it's the amount of money they want to achieve, as I'm sure Jane will explain, whether she, when she sold her property, if she had 2 buyers, whether she went for a higher bid because she didn't really care about timing. She just wanted money. Or sometimes owners take a lower bid for a person in a cash position like yourself. So it all comes down to the owner's requirements, but it's certainly a possibility, Emil, certainly a possibility. Havas has given a reasonable timescale to solve that. I wouldn't advise it. 6 months agreement and things could change. Exactly that. So much can happen in 6 months. So much. Question to those living alone. How much are you paying monthly on gas and electric? That's an interesting question, actually. We might have to do a poll on that next week when I'm a little bit more prepared. But yeah, that's a great question, Kay. Just to give you some background into what my fixed deal runs out October. I got a year fixed last year, so just before they started going up. And I'm paying for a 3-bedroom house, it should be £100, but I started paying £130 just to build up some more credit. And I've had my renewal quote come in for £375 to tie in for another year, or there was another one with Eon Next for £470, or stick on the variable for next month at £175. So I think I'm going to stick for a little bit and see what happens. But yeah, interesting question, great question. What are you guys anticipating to pay on your energy price? What's the increase you're experiencing? Abby, do lenders complete the stress test after you found a property and got offer accepted? What check do they do for AIP? Right. So the stress test went 4 weeks ago. So where the legal requirement for banks to stress test you at 3% above the base rate has now gone. So the Bank of England are saying, banks, lenders, you don't have to do that test anymore. It's very unlikely we're going to get to interest rates at that sort of level. They said this before interest rates started to go up, by the way. But yeah, so the stress test is no more. So your AIP, depending on the lender, will be basically how much you're earning, what your outgoings are, and that will give you a number. Okay, so that doesn't go into your bank statements or anything like that. So once you do find a property, after you've got your mortgage agreement in principle, that's when they start going through your bank statements and confirming wages with wage slips, making sure the income that you've put down on the AIP is consistent, and they take all of it into account. So they do a little bit of digging, which your broker, Arabi, I'm sure, has done. And once they actually submit the full application, that's when they go into a bit more detail and make sure you can afford the mortgage, do their affordability checks and stuff like that. So they won't do that on the AIP, to my knowledge. I might be wrong, but I think that's basically just this is at a quick glance what we could lend you potentially. Don't know what that means. Congratulations, Becca, from Lisa. You won't be far behind, Lisa. You won't be far behind. Mel, I accepted a cash offer which was lower than the mortgage offer, 100% worth it. It went through so fast, which is why. Exactly. So, James, I hope you don't mind me asking that question, Jane. Actually, I should have asked you before, just sort of throwing you under the bus there. Yeah, some owners, I think Jane lost the buyer, didn't you? Or the chain went wrong. So when you put your house back on the market, you'd already found somewhere, and not wanting to risk losing that property, I'd imagine you went for a buyer that could move quicker rather than putting more money in your pocket, which in this instance has worked perfectly. So Alex is paying £130 a month for a 3-bed terrace, all insulated on variable. So that's your variable rate now, is it, Alex? Is that what it is now? For electric and gas, £67 a month. Quo. Good for you. Good for you. Take it. My gas and electric on the deal that I had, which expired in April, I was paying around £100 a month each month. Now I'm on a variable and I'm paying £220 a month. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So we're noticing some big increases here, guys, aren't we? Wow. 370, currently paying 180 for a 2-bed house with 3 people was previously. I mean, that's a huge increase. Do you know what I mean, that's well over 100% your increase there, Kay. So mine, yeah, I mean, I'm on the cap, the one before last cap. So mine, I've got 2 price caps from what I'm paying now to what that £375 is. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. Yeah, I was going to sit in a corner over there and cry. Yeah, it's not ideal. Sorting the bills out yesterday, the gas and electric was a shock. The fixed fee was nearly 4 times what we're paying. So we've gone for, yeah. Do you know, I hadn't decided what I was doing, but a couple of you are on a variable. So you're helping me today. So great question, Kay. And thanks for your responses as well. Yeah, I think I might stick on the variable, see what happens, see what Prime Minister comes in and what help they're going to offer. Because I'm just hope that let's have a think here. Us home buyers, we're not lower earners generally, are we? We're not sort of getting help from the state. We generally have savings, working in full-time jobs. So we're sort of the middle earners, if you like to call us. And I hope that we don't get and sort of slip through the gap in terms of help, because we are the people who have houses, mortgages, bills to pay. We don't get necessarily the help which other people get. And I really hope there is some sort of help for people in our position who have families, who do work and have mortgages to pay, etc. But that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for. Please. I won't be able to buy beers if it goes up too much more. Will they look at outgoings, e.g. food, shopping and the essentials? Right, so depending on the lender, they may take figures from the Office of National Statistics of what the average two-person family buy for food and spend on electricity and gas and stuff like that. Sometimes they'll ask you what you pay each month on food, etc. And sometimes they have their own figures. So they will have a criteria which they will sort of base you against or grade you against, either their own equation, the Office of National Statistics, or they'll ask you outright how much you intend to pay on X, Y, and Z, and then they'll work out your affordability from that. Yep, train went wrong last minute. Not a problem. Happy to. Yeah, I love it when you're here. Love it when you're here. Lyle, sit in the corner, cry, wearing 3 cardigans. I'd need to buy some cardigans. All I've got is loads of work shirts. I've got some jumpers. I've got 3 kids, so I've got to put the heating on. I can't let the kids freeze, can I? Or the wife. Yeah, that wouldn't go down too well, would it? Yes, the government needs to step in fast. Lots of people in full-time employment are struggling, and this is it. I say I've got no qualms in people that need help getting help, but it's when the working class middle earners who do work hard people seem to think that we've got it easy when we haven't. We haven't. It's difficult. Everything's going up. Like my childcare's going up, petrol, food, electric, everything. Everything. That's for everyone. It's only really the top earners that can afford it. Hi, Miriam. Hope I'm saying that right. Currently paying £150, but using about 88 for both gas and electric. Variable gone up from 65 last summer. Yeah. So everyone's noticing it's going up. Everyone. And it's a right pain in the backside, isn't it? Right pain in the backside. So we had one person ask the question about energy prices. Is that affecting you potentially buying a house? Do you think that the rising energy costs will affect your decision to buy? Or do you think you're going to be able to swallow any increase in utilities? I mean, it'd be different for people to people, wouldn't it? It will be, if you're living at home at the moment and you're paying a small amount of rent to parents or family, then you're not going to know any different. So that's, I suppose, potentially a good thing, that you're not going to see the massive difference that you was paying £100 and now you're paying £350, £370. So, but the people who are noticing a percentage of their wages going more and more on utility bills it's just such a much money. Lee, if the government help, that won't bring inflation down. Unfortunately, it's not a free lunch. The taxpayers will bear the cost. The thing is to tackle inflation, not printing more money. But the reason for inflation isn't the fact that there's loads of money going around. Otherwise, like, the economy wouldn't be shrinking. It's not the fact there's lots of money going around. It's the fact that energy prices have pushed up inflation. The demand for certain commodities has pushed up prices. So if there was lots of money swirling around in our pockets, which there isn't, then yeah, I can see a reason for that. But yes, I know whatever help is given, we'll have to pay in the long run, wouldn't we? It goes back, yeah, give with one, take with the other. But I think I would much rather have, at the moment, money off of my utility bill than saving £4 a month on my national insurance or income tax or whatever it is. I mean, I looked at the VAT on my utility bill, right? If the VAT comes off, it's going to save me bugger all. It's like a 2-day standing charge is what the VAT is on my current bill. So I think there needs to be targeted help for people with their energy price, especially for retired people as well, who half their pension is going to go on certain things. But I'm not Martin Lewis. If you want advice on that, you know where to go. Let's have a quick check on how many likes we've got. We are up to 30 out of 48. That's really, really good, guys. Really, really good. Look, a quick plug here. So hopefully the next couple of weeks, I've got a potential partnership building with a conveyancer, a really good conveyancer, who, well, they claim to speed up transactions by 4 to 8 weeks with how they work. At first, I was skeptical, but I've had 3 or 4 deals go through with them recently, and they are very, very good. So I'm hoping for you guys that haven't found a property yet, who may be looking for a solicitor, I might be able to sort of recommend a really good conveyancer, which there's conversations going. And I also have my offering service, which I still don't have a name for. So if anybody has an idea on what I can call my offering service. So if you find a property know how much you want to pay for it, and want to try and secure it for that amount, I'm offering a service where for £100 up front, I'll make the offers on the property. I'll make sure you're not pressured or fooled into paying too much. And I'd also, right up until the exchange of contracts, where another £100 is due, I'll be with you every step of the way, answering any questions. You'll have my WhatsApp number, my email address. There'll be calls, texts throughout the whole transaction. Any time of the day I can do it that fits in with work and family. So if that's something you're interested in, lee@leeeverettproperty.co.uk. That's right, I've got my own website now. It's a work in progress, but please, if you're interested in that, please ping me an email and we'll see what we can do for you. Hit that like button if you haven't already. We're approaching the hour mark, guys. If you've got any more questions, please pop it in the comment section. Alex, I would rather pay higher bills than go to what? Do you know what? I agree with that. You see some of the pictures on the TV about what people are living through at the moment. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Buy it with Lee. Buy it with Lee service. That's not a bad one. It's not a bad one at all. Like that. Rising costs has paused our house search. Thank you for letting me know. Also, I've asked and not many people have answered, so thanks for letting me know, Amit. We're now looking for a one-bed buy-to-let in London for extra income, and hopefully when things get better, we can then look at upgrading our house. Well, that's not a bad thing to do. Not a bad thing to do. You're still going to be on the property ladder. You're still going to be capitalizing on house price growth when prices do start to go back to their normal cycle. So yeah, that is great. That's great. Got some lovely ideas coming in here. Call it leeway. The leeway. That's a play on words. I like that. Leeway is good. Narrow boat. Hello, narrow boat hands. Like leeway. Do you not think it's a little bit vain to name it after myself? I thought about calling it like a home buyers service offering. I don't know. That's why I'm asking for your help. But leeway, the leeway service, help to buy with Lee. That's not bad. Help to buy service. Do you think people would get confused with the government help to buy? But I do like that, actually. Do like that. Holly, we had a purchase fall through and now in a bidding war for another. It's so difficult out here. Prices are crazy, even for rural. Okay. Yes, Cork. It is difficult. I mean, a lot of the offers I'm dealing with for people who are paying me to put their offers forward at the moment, there are 3 to 5 people also offering on the property. And we have been quite successful in securing some properties from, and at less money as well for 1 or 2, because we put their position forward. We've done what the agent wanted. Well, we preempted what the agent wanted by giving certain things before we put the offer forward and stuff like that. So it's, it can be frustrating, but stick at it. I might leave it with me. These are getting cheesier and cheesier. I love it. Absolutely love it. Too long. Home buyer service. What one's too long? Help to buy with Lee or leave it with me? I'm a bit behind on the delay here. Leave it with Lee. People like that. People like leave it with me. Because my name's Lee Everett, I used to get called Leverett, as in lever, leverage, lever. Yeah. No, nothing in that, but I suppose you've done it with that, haven't you? Oh dear. Maybe we could do Mulhern. I look a little bit like Stephen Mulhern, don't I? Nobody come up with a Stephen Mulhern one yet. I'm surprised. It's been a good few weeks since Stephen Mulhern has been mentioned. Leave it with Lee. Leave it with me. Oh, is that too cheesy? What do you reckon? Hopefully not. Right, guys, please keep your suggestions coming in. We're going to be here for another couple of minutes before we go. And if you have any questions you want to get in, please pop them in and we can get in there. Not at all. Things I've got to approach people with this. I've got to approach people with it. I mean, well, you are my target audience. So, right, okay. You come across me sweating in his dining room under a very hot light, and I'm offering you a service. And I said, I'm offering leave it with Lee or leave it with me service. Is that good? Yes, from Kay. It would be memorable. Yes, it would be. But would I be taken seriously? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. I might have to do a poll. I might have to do a poll. Yeah. What's this one? Interlead. Wow. Interlead. Yeah, I can't even say that properly. Intimidate. Love it. Love it. Yes. Leave it a year and maybe you can afford it. These are great. These are great. Narrow boat, you're wasted. Whatever you're doing for a job, you're wasted. Leave it with me. I gotcha. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, there we go. We're getting some comments. Surely, the more fun sounding you make it, one of life's most stressful things, the better. Will make people remember you too. It's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, I want to be remembered. I want to be remembered. Lee, the first brick or bricks. Lee. This is good. We should just do a live stream of you just coming up with puns for my property buying service. See, that sounds boring. These are fantastic. Leave it a year. Maybe I can't do that one, Arrowboat, but I do like it. I do like it. Insolidate. Help to buy with, yeah. We've got some cracking suggestions here, guys. Some cracking suggestions. We'll have to do a poll. We'll do a poll in between now and the next live stream. And maybe we'll we'll have to do it. Jane coming in with a seriousness, first time buyer negotiation service. What do you reckon, guys? Is Jane playing it safe? I mean, I think it should be something like that. But if the feedback is go with something a little bit more cheesy, Jane's loving the cheesy ones. Third party negotiator. So maybe there's we do a play on words with that, something like that. Down the rabbit hole. Hello, professional home negotiation service. Personal home negotiation. See that sounds professional. It's got the word professional in it. That's probably why. But yeah, I mean that before I was imparted on your guys' wisdom with the cheese ones. Yeah, I was thinking more something like what Jane and M down under, or down the rabbit hole was suggested. But a lot of you are going, you throw me curveball here, guys. You throw me curveballs. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. PHNS. So that is the Professional Home Negotiation Service by Lee. I don't know if people won't know what that is, will they? I think I need to spell it out, literally, not just do the words. Kay prefers professional selling ones. Okay, right. So we are thinking something that sounds professional. So professional sounds better. If you don't know me, pretend you haven't spent the last, 6 months of or 3-4 months of your life watching me on a Wednesday night, drink beer and talk about the property market. Imagine you coming onto my website, which is leeeverettproperty.co.uk, which is crap at the moment, but it will get better. And you saw, hang on, I'm getting back up. Leave it with Lee or leave it with me. All those sorts of ones. Would you potentially use it? Call it leeway, buying with Lee, help to buy with Lee. Which one were you more likely to use? Leave it with me. That's good. That is good. Leave it with Lee. Come on. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? I prefer professional. There you go. Lee, does anyone know the name that was finally picked for Boaty McBoatface? They didn't go for Boaty McBoatface. They went for Attenborough, didn't they? I think they went for Attenborough. Home done professional, Lee. I didn't see the Lee bit at the end. I like that. Home. So that's professional and got my name in it as well. You have it. You are overthinking it. I'm overthinking it, aren't I? Leave it with Lee. Maybe have a pro name, but a cheesy strap line. Yeah, I could do that. I think if this takes off, guys, I'm going to need you in my team. Again, as Jane knows, it's not a paid role. You'll just be thanked on a live stream. Most mission statements are all cheese. I suppose they are, aren't they? I have to be honest, they're funny, but it has to be professional for me to buy it. That's what I'm thinking. We're talking about home buyers here. Kay, I'm drawn to professional sounding companies, especially for something as you. This is it. This is it. Sir Rick Atton. So, so no, it wasn't. I thought it was HMS Attenborough. I could be wrong. I don't know. Uh, Everett buy for less. See, this is what I'm not going to be a buying agent because I'm not going to be able to source the properties for you, and I'm not going to take a chunk of how much we get off the asking price because I don't want to work like that. I could work like that and earn more money, but I want to just be that buffer between you and the estate agent, not force you to pay more money than you have to. Okay, and I want to be that. So I say that cog in the middle, which can hopefully you can come to me with any questions and whatnot, and not be forced, pressurized into doing stuff you just don't want to do. And professionally is good. Well done. We're all good. It's all going great. Look, feel free to email me any more that pop to your mind, any time of the night or day. Lee at leeeverettproperty.co.uk. Yeah. A negotiation coordinator. Yeah, that's what I would like to be. I suppose it is exactly that. But do people know what that is? Lee the cog. I've been called worse, mate. I've been called a hell of a lot worse. Probably by some of you as well, or some people that disagree with my views on the property market. But I'm going to spend the rest of the evening with my wonderful and gorgeous wife. So thank you so much for joining me, guys. I love you all. Good luck with your house buying journey. Email me if you have any questions or want to take me up on my offer or are interested in potential solicitors that I recommend. See you again next week. And yeah, it's been fun as always. Good luck, guys. Take it easy.